BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Yo, this is the YUNGBLUD podcast. Turn up that volume. Happy! This is my podcast where I get to know one of you guys a little bit better each and every week. We have a chat about something in your life, something that's important to you. I have learned so much from you already. Like, you literally blow my mind every time. This week, I'm speaking to Yoshi, who is our first guest from America. Yoshi is 18 from California and identifies as gender fluid. Each day, Yoshi wakes up feeling a different gender and so switches between using he, she, and they pronouns. They started to tell their friends, the teachers, and the family that they were gender fluid at high school, and I was really interested to hear about the different reactions. I think it says a lot about the differences in generations and their views on identity. As always, I can't help it, we did use some rude words. Sorry about that, / not sorry. Here's my chat with Yoshi. Turn up that volume. Yo, Yoshi, what's up? You look incredible.
Thank you.
What's going on, you good?
Yeah, I'm great. How are you?
I'm alright, man, I'm alright. I'm literally like so excited to talk to you. You're actually our first American guest, which I'm like, yeah.
Really?
And we are talking about gender fluidity and being gender fluid. So what pronouns should I use for you today?
He, him, his.
I kind of like relate so heavily to this because I wake up every day as a different person, like severely relate to you so heavy right now. And I just wanted to kind of kick off being like, what does gender fluidity and being gender fluid mean to you?
It's sort of like the same aspect as like waking up as like a new person every day.
What is it like? So it kind of, you wake up as what you are that day. Is it a morning thing, or does it kind of happen before you go to bed and you kind of know the person you're going to wake up as?
It's more of a morning thing for me. If I do not sleep at night, then like I could sort of feel like something's sort of happening in my brain that's like sort of switching into a change reaction. Basically, my body's like, okay, you're this. But just because my body is like, hey, you might be a guy, doesn't mean that I'm not going to wear like makeup if I feel like wearing makeup, you know?
Completely. I think that's what's so interesting and amazing about our generation, that the way we are kind of really pushing to be accepting. Obviously, there's still a lot of ignorance out there that we're all fighting against, especially me and you. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially like people like us, we are fighting against. But I think it's incredible to kind of even come across the idea of being gender fluid, because people who are gender fluid, which is, by the way, a real valid thing. If people are going, what is this? What does this mean? This is a real thing. If you are gender fluid, you are real, you are heard, you are gonna be amplified right now. The idea that we can come across this because of the internet and because of conversation that we're having is incredible. What did you come across the idea of gender fluidity over the internet or over a conversation with your friends, or did you kind of always feel this way, yet finding that terminology allowed you to kind of say, hey, yo, this is what I am?
For me, it was really weird, my childhood, because like I would get into like all the clothes I found, my mom's, my brother's, it did not matter. But the issue was like, as let's say kindergarten maybe, it was more of like, sometimes I would be like, let me wear pants and a hoodie to school, and then other times I'm like, I want to wear a dress to school, why not? I was a child, I didn't understand like what that meant. I thought like, oh, I'm a kid, I'm having fun. But like as I never grew out of it, I sort of was like, not everybody is doing this. Why does no one else feel this way? And then middle school, you know, kids playing on like the computers, going to Urban Dictionary, finding out what this means. All of a sudden, like I was just looking at the Urban Dictionary and it was like gender fluid. This is what it means. And I was like, huh, that's what I've been dealing with my whole life.
Yeah. I think that's what's so sick, and this is what I always say, like a lot of people have a lot of issues of online, and yes, it can be a toxic and an evil place to go, but I think the fact that we can kind of learn so much about ourselves and have conversations with people all over the planet who are exactly the same as we are, because dude, there was not many kind of boys wearing nail polish and skirts where I was from, and you know what I mean, it's probably yeah by your face I'm like, you relate heavy, right? You know what I'm saying? And I think the idea that we can go on the internet and be like, yo, this is what I am, is there anyone out there like me? And then people go, oh, what, I feel the same way, thank God, even though you're at the other side of the planet, thank fuck there is somebody like me. Oh my God, what the hell, I'm not alone in my weirdly wonderful state. What was it like telling your family? Okay.
It was weird because like I am one of those rare cases where you have to come out like twice. It's like first your sexuality, then your identity. Bisexuality wasn't an issue. They just like were like, okay, cool, love who you love. But the moment I was like, by the way, I'm not completely cis, was like a breaking the back type of situation where it was like, we did not raise you to be like that. That is not acceptable. Like they went into like a whole like God made you in this body for a certain reason.
Yeah.
And I was just like
that whole like, and that is just so. Firstly, I'm sorry. Secondly, I'm here for you. Thirdly, like I couldn't wait to get you on because one, your story inspired me, and when you tell me that, for anybody out there listening, if your family don't accept you, you will find a family somewhere else. And I think that is why kind of I even started Youngblood in general. I wanted people to come together, because Youngblood ain't me. You're Youngblood. Yoshi's Youngblood just as much as Dom's Youngblood. Do you know what I mean? Like, legitimately, you are. This family will accept you even if no one else does. That is what it was built for. And that is like why I love talking to you all so much, because you're inspiring the hell out of me right now. Like, I'm envious of you. I wish I could be just as confident as you, and probably your story is going to make me think about what I am in my head as well, which is awesome. And you said you identify as like sexuality wise bisexual.
Yeah.
How is that on a level, because your gender changes daily, and how has that been for partners in the past? Because I can imagine that must be quite a lot to understand if you are not willing to understand it, or if you're not willing to kind of have your perception of what you might know changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the situation with partners is just like, it's very hard finding a partner when you're gender fluid, because it's not just finding somebody who is like, somebody could fall in love with like the girl version of me, and I'm gonna be like, hey, not trying to catfish, you know, but it's more of like strictly like, for me, I cannot date anybody who is 100% straight, obviously. I have to go with dating people who are open-minded, bisexuals or pansexuals. So, cause like they understand the whole spectrum of like everything's not just male, female type of aspect.
Completely.
It has been hard, I will say that. A lot of people and that I have like ended up liking, or like ended up liking me, were only like, I like this version of you, not all the versions that come with gender fluidity.
That is hard, that someone might fall in love with a certain version of you, but I think kind of from my perspective, when I fall in love with someone, I fall very much in love with a person, no matter what they may be. And I think that's kind of a thing that really shows a testament to what love is. I think people do change. Even if you've been married for 20 years, the person you were with at the start might not be the person you are with now, because people grow and people change. And I think for, especially right now, and in the way that sexuality and the way that relationships are evolving, I think if you fall in love with someone and they change their gender on the daily, to someone like me, that like, if I love someone, that's exciting. But I think it's up to
yeah.
us to kind of break that stigma and kind of really say that it's about the person and it's about what they are, because the fundamental values of a person doesn't change if your gender changes. What you believe in doesn't change. Maybe I'm wrong. Does like what you believe in change on the daily, or does your fundamental core stay the same yet your gender changes?
Yeah, it is basically like that. Like, I'm me. I still have my personality, the things I like to read, listen to. Your music, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. That all like is the same. It's just the sort of exterior shell changes.
Completely. And I think that's, do you know what? I think that's so interesting. I think that's rad. I think that's awesome. How was school? How is school?
So currently I don't have any challenges because everything's online, but high school was something. A lot of people would, first day of school, I look a certain way, you know, and then the next day they're like, who's this new person in that seat? It's like, it's still me, guys. It was very weird. Like you said, you know, we sort of make our own families. That's where high school ended up. I started finding people who were like, I don't care what you look like. You seem like a rad person to hang out with. But more of the adult situations were weird and iffy. Some people thought it was interesting. I was like their entertainment for the year of high school, of like, what is Yoshi going to enter with next type of thing.
How did that make you feel? Did you like that or did you dislike that?
I was fine, you know, like, hey, let me brighten up your day real quick. Let me be a little surprised.
Dude, I love
that. Yeah, it was weird because mostly security were a big issue. Like, I don't use restrooms because of high school traumas where, like, it's lunch, I gotta go WAS, but then I'll be looking like this entering the guys' restroom, and they'll be like, hey, stop, you can't go in there, you're not allowed in there, and then I have to explain my whole life story and why I can.
Yeah, completely. Dude, that's what I'm saying. I think that's why, like, there's such a big kind of need for our generation, especially the way things are progressing, and rightly so, and absolutely incredibly progressing at a quick rate, as they should be. I think toilets need to be gender neutral.
Right.
You have a job where you work in a restaurant, and people sometimes find it hard if you are kind of entering different bathrooms, right? So old hat to me. I just don't get. I don't know why. I just don't understand that. I'm like, come on, what are you playing at? You know what I mean?
It's funny because I've only came out to one person at my job, and they left. So I'm just like waiting for the hat to drop because like people have not understood yet. They're just like constantly being like, oh wow, you change every day. You must be like very like artistic and expressional. And I'm just waiting for them to be like, so are you female, male? Like I'm waiting for somebody to ask me that question.
And then you're gonna be like, I'm gender fluid, and they're gonna be like, what does that mean? And then it's like, okay. But it's cool. This is why I wanted to. This is why I couldn't wait to get you on this podcast, because the whole reason I wanted to do this was to uplift and amplify these stories. So everybody out there, if you are out there and you are gender fluid and you are feeling alone, I hope Yoshi's story has like helped you today. And I think if you are not gender fluid and you've learned something about that, please scream it and shout it from the rooftop so everyone realizes and everyone can be educated on this subject, so we can like go forward and move forward quickly. Yo, thank you so much for coming on today. You rock star.
Of course.
Do you have anything you want to say before we skedaddle?
Only thing is, like, for those who are confused, like, you guys can contact me. I can talk to you, help you discover who you are, all that lovely stuff. Yeah.
This is what this is for. This is a network to bring people together so you guys can feel valid and you guys can feel heard and you guys can be who you are. Be.who.you.r exclamation mark. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Keep being loud. Keep being amazing. I think you're brilliant. Bye. Yo, that was such a sick conversation. I love that he's doing his own thing. I love that today he identified as a male and tomorrow there is endless possibilities because that is the way he is himself. Never let anybody put you in a box and define your gender. That is your choice and your choice alone. If you want some more info about LGBTQI plus issues, maybe avoid Urban Dictionary. Instead, you can search online for BBC Action Line. Tell your mates about this podcast. We want this family to grow, and subscribe to BBC Sounds. I'll see you next week. Ta-ra!